The earliest origins of our collections are thought to belong with the collections exhibited in the Old Athenaeum and Mechanics Institute, founded around 1840. This stood in High Street in Cardiff. In 1866 the Cardiff Naturalists Society was founded, with the principal aim being to resuscitate the museum. Mr. William Adams, who was president of the Cardiff Naturalists Society, and a number of other gentlemen, both members and non-members, donated specimens, and a room was set aside in the YMCA buildings at 79 St. Mary's Street by the Free Library Committee for the storage and display of the specimens. In 1870 an exhibition was held in the Drill Hall in Cardiff, and about £250 was spent on display cases and other items. Following this, the cases were transferred to the rooms above the Free Library in St. Mary's Street, and the whole top floor was given to the museum. The museum was initially open to the public from 7 to 10 o'clock Wednesday and Saturday evenings. As new specimens were added and the collection expanded, the opening hours were extended. In 1878, the first curator was appointed on a short contract, followed in 1879 by Mr. Emma Cochrane FCS. Mr. C. Crutwell was appointed the next curator in 1880 and Mr. John Story in 1881. In 1879 a large slab with footprints of Brontozoum Tomasi was donated. The Free Library Committee found the St. Mary's Street premises was too small for a library, school and museum, so decided to erect a new building in Trinity and Working Street. The foundation stone of the new Cardiff Museum and Free Library was laid on the 27th of October, 1880. On the same day 2 years later, the museum on the upper floor was opened to the public. Story was followed as curator by John Ward. During this time, plans were put forward for the building of a national museum in Cardiff. In 1894 to 1895, the widening of Working Street resulted in the loss of about a third of the natural history room. This necessitated a large portion of the collections to be temporarily packed away. In 1896, Mr. Henry Woods of Cambridge was engaged to overhaul the invertebrate fossils, work which lasted 2 or 3 years. A year later and up until 1903, Mr. Gilbert Dutton BSc was engaged as assistant, and he worked on the geological and botanical collections, frequently in touch with Woods. In 1903 a new room in Trinity Street was provided as a workroom and store. Meanwhile Parliament was being petitioned for a new National Museum for Wales. On the 19th of March, 1907, a royal charter was granted, which founded the National Museum of Wales. The specimens from Cardiff Museum were removed to a space in the Law Courts. In 1911, work in progress was made on a large relief model of Wales, which for many years formed the centre point of the Geology Gallery. The foundation stone of what is now National Museum Cardiff was laid in April 1912 by King George V, but due to the outbreak of war, the first phase of the museum was not opened to the public until the 21st of April 1927. In 1912, the Cardiff Municipal Museum ceased to exist and all its collections were officially transferred to the new National Museum of Wales. In 1914 and 1915 the collections were estimated to number more than 30,000 specimens. In 1930, the building work on the remainder of the East Wing, including the Reardon Smith Lecture Theatre, reached completion. This was formally opened on the 25th of October, 1932 by Prince George. In 1940 and 1941, an air raid resulted in the loss of 3,600 square feet of glass, and also caused minor structural damage to the building. In 1965, the West Wing section of the Cateys Park building was completed and opened to the public. In 1993, the courtyard galleries at Cateys Park was opened by Queen Elizabeth II. In 2010, the redevelopment of the art galleries in Cateys Park began. Thank you for listening, and stay safe. I would also like to thank David and all the museum staff for supporting me with my ambitions and dreams. I hope to see you all again soon.